Casting is never a straight road. It's always complicated than you think it is. At the time that I got Iron Man, I didn't know Avengers was in the works. When we started Captain America, there were actors that passed on it.
Does anything stand out in your memory about Robert Downey Jr. 20 years ago when he came in for that audition?
It seemed like a very out-of-the-box idea to have someone like Robert Downey Jr. play one that had a character. It wasn't necessarily obvious to everybody at the time.
When the Spider-Man casting for Captain America Civil War was happening, a lot of rumors came up. Does that ever impact the casting process?
It doesn't impact the casting process in terms of changing it, but if you're talking about fan casting, we are aware of that.
Tom Hiddleston's audition for Thor. It's hard to imagine him as Thor after how well he does as Loki.
I'm glad that we tested him for Thor, but he's kind of Loki-ish.
Do you remember anything about Wilson Bethel's attempt to become Captain America?
He was great. Wilson and many other actors that auditioned for one part in the MCU ended up getting another one.
Chris Pratt is one of those, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember Chris Pratt's Captain America audition?
Absolutely.
Well, hello, welcome to another episode of the Brandon Davis Show, and this week's main character is the legend, Sarah Finn. Sarah Finn is the casting director behind just about every casting choice in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and in September of 2026, there will be a milestone of 20 years since Sarah Finn cast Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it goes without saying, this episode is probably going to contain some casting spoilers for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe to date. And when you're at D23 this weekend, if there happens to be some casting news about a certain group of new characters, which may or may not be coming, just know Sarah Finn is the visionary genius behind some of those casting choices as well, people. So a lot of really fun stuff to talk with Sarah about. This was recorded at San Diego Comic-Con. This was the Brandon Davis Show live in the Indigo Ballroom. Huge thanks to everybody who came out and filled that room. It was really important to me to make Sarah Finn feel appreciated, like we love her work, like we appreciate what she does, and like we wanted to learn from her, which is always the goal with these episodes. Tell stories from awesome guests and let you all at home feel like you're in the room and I'm asking questions you would want to ask. So I would love to hear what is your favorite moment from this episode. By the time you reach the end, drop that in the comment section. If you have questions or things you would like to add to this, send them to thebrandondavisshow@gmail.com. We have Ask BD episodes every Monday, and we can address your questions there. And there will be a new main character every Wednesday. If you'd like to join the Discord community, you can do that at patreon.com/thebrandondavisshow. It will be linked in the video description here, and it will also be in the podcast audio description as well. So just open up the description, click that, and then leave a comment with what your favorite part of the episode is. This episode covers a lot of ground from all sorts of MCU castings and also things like Walking Tall, which friend of the show Khleo Thomas was casting with Dwayne Johnson, and all kinds of stuff like that. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoy this week's episode with Sarah Finn, and I really hope you'll keep showing up for the next one, the one after that, the one after that, and every other one as we take this channel to the moon. Thank you for 110K, everybody. Enjoy.
Do some kind of pose.
Spider-Man do a flip? Well, hello. What's up, Sam? This is really cool. Thanks for coming, everybody. My name is Brandon Davis. Welcome to the second ever Brandon Davis Show Live. This is the first ever in San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you for being here. If you're unfamiliar with the show, I want to make sure you leave here a subscriber, okay? You can find it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff. We talk to superheroes, the people who make people superheroes, athletes. Cody Rhodes was on the show once. And today we have a really cool guest we'll get to in just a second, but if you want to find it, it's Brandon Davis BD on any of the channels. You can go subscribe to it and support the channel. We'll take it to the moon and get cooler, bigger, awesome stories and all kinds of stuff for people as the show goes and grows. Every Monday we do Ask BD. Every Wednesday there's a new main character. We have an amazing main character today. She is an award-winning casting director. She is responsible for eyeing up actors who I think all of us have seen their work in the years they've become. Movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Anybody see that movie? Mandalorian. Two of my personal favorite movies, The Nice Guys and Chef. I love those movies. Some throwbacks of Walking Tall and Coach Carter. We might talk about all this, but I think we're going to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe quite a bit today. And in September, by the way, it'll be 20 years since she cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. So that's pretty cool. I would say that's probably one of the best and most important impacts on the movie world in casting terms that it's ever happened. So I'm excited to hear about that. Without further ado, today's main character is Sarah Finn. Dallas, I'm good as you.
Hello, hello. Thanks for being here.
Have you been to San Diego Comic-Con before?
I have been in the audience where you guys are. I have not been up here.
First time on stage.
You're still on stage?
Are you nervous?
I get super nervous and I can hear it when you're like, flip.
Welcome to Comic-Con on stage.
Yes.
So happy to have you here. I'm a big fan of your work. Pretty cool stuff you've done. Thank you for the characters you've brought into our lives and the actors who play them. One of my favorite things, though, before we talk about all work stuff, is to get to know people who are doing the podcast. I don't know, Sarah Finn, like, how this, you were in theater, that led to casting. Like, kid Sarah Finn, what were you into that you think was like the telltale sign? Oh yeah, now that makes sense that she's doing that today.
I mean, I love theater. I love movies. I started out as an actor, like a lot of people in this business, and kind of found my way to casting. But it really was storytelling.
Yeah.
I think storytelling and character and dialing into that was the first thing I fell in love with, and found a way to do it for a living, which is pretty great.
Yeah. You're doing a good job at it. And what would you remember, like, the first conversation or the first moment and opportunity to cast a Marvel movie came along?
Yeah, it was with Iron Man. So 20 years ago. But I know, 2006 when we cast Downey, and I knew actually Fantastic Four. I knew that comic as a kid, and I was a nerd enough that I read comic books, and that was the one I really loved. But I had kids. I have 3 boys, and they were really big fans of that. So when I walked in for my interview, right, like casting directors can audition just like actors audition. We meet with the director, we meet with the producers, and we try to get the job. I walked into the conference room at Marvel, and they used to have old Marvel offices, like over a car dealership in Beverly Hills, the very first ones. And I walked in, and there on the conference table, on the conference table, was a big Dr. Doom statue. And I completely nerded out over it because I had seen that movie many, many, many times. And I think that helped me. It just broke the ice, and they could tell that even though I had credentials and like I went to Yale, but all the stuff, like I really just love comics and storytelling, and so there you go.
I think it's interesting that you then proceeded to cast Dr. Doom from that same spot.
But, yeah, I had no idea, actually.
That's pretty cool. Does anything stand out in your memory about Robert Downey Jr. 20 years ago? He came into that audition. Like, I heard you talk with the Russo brothers on the podcast, the Pizza Film School, and you said usually within the first 30 seconds you kind of are like, this person, maybe not this person.
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment where you're like, this is this person with Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, instantly.
What was it?
It was instantly. I think when you're casting, a lot of what we do is try to make something visible, right? Like we have words on a page, we have a comic book character, sometimes we have a script, sometimes we don't. And so we were taking this idea, and I'll spend a lot of time talking to my director and trying to distill down the critical, essential qualities that he's looking for. Downey made sense, but we haven't seen it. And so the fact that he was willing to screen test kind of changed history for him and Funk. His career, and certainly charting the course for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But once he did that and came in and the words started coming out of his mouth, it was absolutely undeniable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he immediately on board and you guys were like, hey, you're our guy? Was he just like, yeah, I want to be Iron Man? Or is that what was that? Hey, we got to have some more conversations and explain to him why this is a good role to do?
I think he was excited about it from the beginning, but he hadn't played an action hero. It seemed like, at the time, it seemed like a very out-of-the-box idea. Actually, to have someone like Robert Downey Jr., who was an Oscar nominee and had this incredible career, but also he was obviously pulling ups and downs as a human, as well as he was about to play one that had a character with his ups and downs. So it wasn't necessarily obvious to everybody at the time, even though looking back, it seems like a completely easy decision. It was a whole process that got us there.
Well, I think that's probably the biggest cultural impact of casting has ever. Like, what movie franchise has ever had more people watch the product, the finished product, than the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And that all started with that piece of casting. That's crazy. When did it start to set in? Then it was like, oh, this thing's kind of blowing up.
And then we sort of put it together piece by piece. And I remember starting to talk about the rest of the cast and having the idea of Jeff Bridges or Obadiah then we were casting Brody and all the parts, and it started to feel like it was coming together. But I do remember, because I hadn't done a superhero movie before, wondering if I was making the right decision. And I think I was walking through the Marvel offices one day, and somebody sort of jokingly said, like, we only casting like Academy Award nominee actors in this movie. And I thought, is this wrong? Like, am I doing something wrong? Is this not good? But it worked out.
Right. And then, how many years was it later? I think it was 2 years ago we found out he's Doom. So 18 years later, almost 19 years later, they announced he's Dr. Doom. Do you, like, when they're bringing somebody back from the franchise to play a different character, is there like a casting process, or is it something like we already know what he does and we want him in that role?
Well, they were pretty aware of his talent.
Yeah, I would say by that point they worked together a few times.
By that point, I think they knew what he was capable of, yeah.
Yeah, having seen him work so much, what do you do? Are you excited to see him play Doom?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the new. It's almost like the new iteration of the story and the culmination story at the same time.
Yeah, the culminations.
I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know.
This feels like a good talking point. I think this. Ouch, get out, just kidding. And then because it was Iron Man, and then Incredible Hulk was like I don't know if it,
yeah, that's asterisk.
Yeah.
Being able to cast all the MCU movies, asterisk, Incredible Hulk, because when I came in to meet on Iron Man, they were already in process casting the Hulk, so that's the one I didn't do out of the films.
And you did Captain America and Thor after that.
Yeah.
You were casting individuals at the time.
Yeah.
That was before they worked together in Avengers.
Yes.
Did you have to consider that?
So, at the time that I got Iron Man, I didn't know that Avengers was in the works. I think Avengers was probably always in Kevin Feige's mind somewhere, but I didn't know that, and it wasn't until we were working with Thor and somewhere into Captain America that I even heard this concept that they were going to put them all together, which was mind-blowing to me at the time, because, again, in retrospect, it's hard to imagine this, but when we started Captain America, there were actors that passed on it, full on. It was like no tights, no capes, no period, not doing period stories, and people didn't really understand what it was. And then Thor was kind of felt risky at the time because he was kind of Asgardian, but he was real world. It felt like we were taking some chances. So then to be planning an Avengers movie before we even knew how Cap and Khleo were going to be received felt very risky to me, but exciting.
And it worked out. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I think what stories I love to hear, I think people, like, just because people talk about these online so often, I think I'm not alone in this. I always love to hear about the other people who came close. So then sometimes they always end up in a different role in the MCU as well. I had Wilson Bethel on the podcast earlier this year, and he talks about, I was almost Captain America, and then I'm glad I'm Bullseye. Do you know anything about Wilson? I love him. I think he's one of the coolest dudes and so talented. Do you remember anything about Wilson Bethel in his attempt to become Captain America?
He was great. He was like, these are always genuinely hard decisions. We don't get to screen tests without having a bunch of candidates that we really believe in and feel like can do it. So everyone that gets close, it's always a very exciting and a heartbreaking time. But I do believe that talent wins out always. It's a long game for actors, and ultimately talent's going to win out. They're going to find the right role. And there have been a lot of actors, Wilson and many other actors, that auditioned for one part in the MCU and then ended up getting.
Chris Pratt's one of those, right?
Yeah.
Was he for Captain America?
Yep.
And I mean, what a different character. I mean, same with Bullseye. I'd say neither of those guys are very Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
But do you remember Chris Pratt's Captain America audition? Did you see something then, like when James started doing Guardians, you were like, I remember that Cap. Was that kind of...
Absolutely. Yeah, he did a speech which was not comedic at all, and it was kind of a rallying cry. I don't think this particular one ever ended up in the movie, but when he's trying to kind of inspire and encourage somebody to move forward with courage. And it was really simple. It was very heartfelt. There was just that touch and nobility that I think you want to see in your heroes. Yeah. And then of course you have Parks and Rec. But after that audition, I was paying attention, and I thought, okay, everyone knows him from Parks and Rec, but what other kinds of roles is he playing? And he did Moneyball, he did In a Dark 30, he did Her. He was showing his rage all along. So when Guardians came last, I was really kind of stuck on him, and this story is out there that he didn't want to audition for Guardians at all. Yeah.
How did you guys get him to do it?
I think I was so persistent to the point of being annoying. And he finally agreed to audition, and then at that point, James Gunn was convinced he wasn't right and didn't want to see him. So yeah, this was a full process. Casting is never a straight road. It's always much more complicated than you think it is. If you do it right, it looks easy. I think that's the goal.
And then like once a month you're on Skype or Zoom with Adam Driver, and you're like, it wants to.
It's a tradition. Like that is a tradition.
Chris Pratt getting cast as Star, because I think I'm really into fitness, and I love like when men and women get jacked to play a superhero. Like that's cool. And Chris was one of those people that his transformation. I think the male Nanjiani many years later, with his transformation. Chris Pratt, what they should probably did not look the same as Chris Pratt who played Star-Lord. Is that part of the like discussion and casting too? Like, hey, we have a certain look for a superhero. Are you interested in doing that, or does that come later, part of the playable part?
I think that he probably knew because he had actually put on weight specifically to play a different character in another film. So I think he was aware, because in Zero Dark 30, he was showing off a six-pack in that one. So I think actors will transform according to the role, and I think he knew that it was going to be required. And they do have, their people are good.
I remember he posted that first photo on Instagram, and I was like, rather good for you. Put the work in.
And it is work. It is work. There was one time he was at our office, and I'll always feel kind of bad about this. Sorry, Chris, where he came over for something, and he had just gotten cast, and we ordered lunch, and we're largely female staff, entirely female right now. We all ordered cheeseburgers, and he ate like a lettuce salad. And yeah.
You were showing off at that.
Yeah, we just didn't think about it.
I rewatched the camera test of Chris Pratt and Dave Bautista, but they were in Star-Lord of Drax. That was so funny. Is that like, when you're doing those pairings, what is it that stands out to you, whether it's them specifically or just when you have to do those chemistry tests for these roles that are going to be played for years?
Yeah.
What is the thing you're looking for in those moments to say, these two people can work together?
Yeah. There's so many things, and I love chemistry tests because it tells us so much. And again, that's one of the things that's so hard for actors is the stars really have to align. So many things have to fall into place. And with chemistry, you can have two really talented actors that don't necessarily click. So you're looking to see if they have a similar sense of humor, a similar way of working, if they get along personally, and then if that charisma translates on screen. And I think you'll see so many cases, but for sure, Chris and Dave hit it awesome in the beginning. And there were many, many other stories and chemistry tests that are fun to talk about.
I think Dave Bautista is so damn talented. And I'm loving that he's getting more roles to showcase that more and more. And I mean, I think I never shut up about the fact that I love wrestling. And I think it's pretty cool that some of the most famous actors in the world are people who used to wrestle. So you get The Rock, John Cena, Dave Bautista, and several more breaking into Hollywood now. Well, do you think there's anything about wrestlers that lend themselves to getting these roles like Drax?
I think that there's a discipline and a rigor that you commit to as a wrestler, as an athlete, even as a musician, as a dancer. Acting requires a lot out of you, physically, emotionally. You have stamina, you're working long days, you have lines to learn, choreography, whether it's stunt choreography or just your blocking and all of the things that are involved. And I think that mental, that mindset, that outlook that I'm going to put in the work and I'm going to really work hard to transform myself or to achieve my goal that I've set for myself. I think you see it in wrestlers, and it certainly was true with Dave. He was really committed to transitioning and making it work as an actor was his dream.
Yeah, I interviewed him for Dune 2, and I remember asking something about like acting after years in WWE. He was like, no disrespect to actors, but everything is easy after wrestling. And if you cry about acting, I think you're a baby. I think that's pretty funny, but also he's a back to talk too. And I've heard you talk a little bit about how when you're auditioning somebody, you need to know, like, I think you were talking about Tom Holland
right
on that same Russo Brothers podcast, where you're like, we knew he had a background where he could work this much for this long. Like, how do you kind of gauge, like, they're up to the test here, like, we need them to show up every day for 6 months.
Right.
How can you know that?
I think that we learn a lot in the audition process. We get to know the actors and how they do under pressure, putting a screen test, you're putting them on a film set with a whole crew there that's watching them and the expectation, and the pressure's on, you see how they're doing. And we also do our homework. I have the most amazing team in Hollywood. I know everyone has a wonderful team, but my team is really incredible, and they do their research, and we find out as much about a performer as the person, as the actors can, so that we can be well informed when we're talking to our filmmaking team. And so with Tom Holland, for example, that was no small thing that he had done Billy Elliot. At 9 years old, he was doing 8 shows a week. Come on, that is some rigorous training right there. And that showed me that he would have the right kind of professional attitude, that he would point to a set and understand what it takes to make a film.
Yeah. Picked the right kid. I mean, the kid now he's like 30.
Well, and then there was everything else he had going for it.
Yeah, just the I loved Spider-Man. I remember when the Spider-Man casting for Captain America Civil War was happening.
Yeah.
That was one of those instances where a lot of rumors, I think some of them were accurate, some of them probably weren't, but there were like, I think Asa Butterfield came up and Tom Holland came up, and there was a couple others that made their way online that seemed like it was before the casting decision was made.
Right.
In instances like that, where all of us are locked on, we want to know everything that's happening as it's happening. But when people online start finding out, oh, this might be happening in the casting room, does that ever impact like the casting process?
It doesn't impact the casting process in terms of changing it. We try to keep it private, not because we're being annoying, but because it actually protects the actors, because not all the actors that are in the mix are going to get the part. So we don't want that actor to be, faced with questions all the time. So we're trying to kind of protect the process and the people involved. But if you're talking about fan casting, maybe that's a little bit of a different spin where we are aware of that.
Well, I think an interesting example of that is Ahsoka, where I think the Rosario Dawson has talked about how Boss Logic's part of her as Ahsoka helps her get into the room to get the part. Is that are there instances where I think that person would be really good at it, and that kind of gets them a look?
It can happen. It can happen. We're sort of paying attention. We're reading everything. We look online, but there's just as many instances, probably more, where fields might not even know of an actor. In the same show, in Ahsoka, Iman Esfandi had auditioned. I think one of his first auditions was for Spider-Man 2. And it's on our radar, and he had this quality. And then when we were casting Ezra, we thought of him, and he had thought of himself without knowing much about the character. And I think he's such a good fit for Ezra, and he's such a perfect best of that character in that role. And he was living in Austin. He hadn't done anything notable that people would know about. So that's a situation we get where people might not know Florence Pugh is another one, and so proud to have cast her in Black Widow and her role in Thunderbolts and going forward. But again, she had done a couple of small British films, and so there were fan castings, and that's where I'm grateful to have a job, because otherwise you go just do all the casting yourself and wouldn't do anything.
I think one of the most fun examples of somebody who auditioned for a role and ended up in a different one is Tom Hiddleston's audition for Thor, which I think all of us probably seen.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine him as Thor after how well he does as Loki.
Yes.
Did you see him as Thor and go, oh yeah, no, that's Loki? Or how does that process go when it is first one thing and then quickly for the same movie, they have a different character?
It's really fun. It's a really fun opportunity because you're seeing talent in all its expressions and all its forms, and we're matchmakers, right? We're trying to match the actor to the role, the actor with director, and so we knew Tom was talented. I'm glad that we tested him for Thor. It was quickly apparent he wasn't Thor, we knew that was Thor, but then we were like, okay, what do we do with all this talent? And he's kind of Loki-ish, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then that happened.
And then you brought him in, and then you brought Everything Everywhere at Once stars into Loki season 2, and it's just I feel like it's just a web of people you interact with in the audition room, but eventually find ways to have it all cross over.
It's so fun. It's so fun to get to kind of look at things from that bird's eye view and look at the whole and see where we can make a match.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in time a second. Pre-MCU, as a fan of The Rock and as a friend of Khleo Thomas. Cleo's been on the show, but Khleo was Zero in Holes, but also he was a Walking Tall with The Rock. And I talked to him about that audition. I was like, what was it? Because he grew up a huge wrestling fan. I was like, what was it like for you to meet The Rock the first time? And he was like, dude, I just walked in. He was right behind the door. And I was like, oh, you're The Rock. Do you remember? Because that was so early in The Rock's, Dwayne Johnson's. But that was so early in his acting career. I think it was his second movie.
Yeah.
And Khleo, just a kid at the time too, maybe his second movie too. Do you remember what it was like to get these young guys at the time to work together and find their chemistry?
It was so fun, and I give Dwayne a lot of credit because he worked. He without an ego, he really worked to make the kids comfortable around him, and he was very down to earth. He would take his lunch plate to the kitchen and wash them dishes. He just came in as an actor ready to put in the work, and he did that with Khleo. And then because I actually got to do 6 movies with Dwayne. And we did another movie called Gridiron Gang, where we were street casting for a lot of kids from schools who weren't even professional actors yet. And he read with every one of them, that he gave them all so much attention and real kindness. And it lifts up the film. I think you feel it. It lifts up the process, certainly, and it lifts up the film. And so I'm glad to say I remembered it as a good experience.
I think he stuck with it for sure. I mean, he was really excited to talk about it. As Khleo friend, I do have to say, get Khleo in the MCU.
That's it.
I'd be a bad friend.
We're like Khleo.
Have you guys ever talked to Dwayne? I don't want to put you on the spot. There's been so many rumors that maybe we don't go down that road, because that'll be the headline out of this. You don't want anybody to get in trouble. Yeah. We are going to open up a few fan questions in a little bit. So I think there's a microphone somewhere. If anybody wants to ask a question, it's over there. There's the microphone. But first, I did get a video submission for a fan question that I promised this fan that we would play it for them to get you this question to you. So I think we can play this one. I think they're good to go on that.
Okay. Sarah, I'm sorry, I have a question here. If a middle-aged director suddenly, I don't know, moves 64 and dyed his hair blonde, maybe grew his hair out as well, and just got jacked and a little chiseled, could they maybe get the Thor audition that they always wanted? Is that a possibility?
The answer.
I just want to say, what an incredible 20 years it has been for you and Marvel with Cinematic Universe, and was one of its founding members and most important collaborators. You are a pioneer of modern cinematic storytelling, and you have impacted and brought joy to the lives of millions and millions of people around the world over the span of that 2 decades. I am so proud of you. I am so proud to have worked with you. I'm so grateful to have worked with you. And my brother and I send our loves. And not only are you an incredible artist, but you're an incredible human being.
Wow. Thank you, Joe. Brendan. Oh my God, I'm right.
It just seems, though,
Very lovely. Thank you.
it seems like you guys, especially in Marvel, there's a family element to this, because you work with Expo regularly with the Russos, but it just seems like you work together over and over again because you all find a way to collaborate, and it seems you guys have so much love for each other for all this work.
Yeah, it's been an incredible privilege and an incredible experience to get to have such a long run with these creators, with these incredibly visionary creators and talented people, and get to continue to tell stories with them over such a long period of time is really special and unusual. Yeah.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna go. I have a few questions myself, but I'll go over there since you guys lined up.
Oh gosh.
What's your name? Oh, the mic, do love the mic, sit down. We're gonna pull that thing up. Thank you, Rachel.
I appreciate it. Hi guys, I'm Eva Allen, and I have a question for Sarah about your casting for maybe future projects, especially MCU, but any of your projects that you're casting.
I think she's saying cast Brandon Davis as Nova, but
So
I'm curious. So, like Iman in Ms. Marvel, she pretty much had nothing that we knew of. She hadn't been in TV or films or anything. I don't know if she was doing theater maybe in school before, but she wasn't yet known. Do you, for some of your future casting projects, are you looking for actors ever who are kind of in her realm in terms of not yet being established in that regard, and kind of giving a chance to not yet discovered talent?
yeah, that's another one of the really fun things about what we get to do is we're continually looking for talent. We're always looking for talent. We have, on my amazing casting staff of associates. I would name every one of them if I had time, but we're always looking at film festivals, we're covering theater festivals, they watch the Jimmy Awards, we read reviews from all over the country and the world of things that are out there, and we really try to keep a watch on emerging talent. And that's across the board. That's in the music world. It's in all different spheres where we can find talent. And when we identify somebody we're keen on, they sort of go on a wish list, like, wow, I hope we can find something for this person. Iman was very unknown. And we got the opportunity after Endgame and with the explosion of streaming to go out and find all these new talents with Echo, with this Marvel, Ironheart, all of these different projects that gave us the ability to kind of help find new stars and carve out new pathways. And so that really was from an open call and a search that we did, because we were looking specifically for a Pakistani Muslim teenager, and we didn't get it. We didn't get the 8,000 submissions we got on Spider-Man. We had to go out into the community and look in a different way, and that was so fun to discover her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, this question is going to come from one of the Patreons. There's another fan question here. This is from Karen, I think is a good way to build on that question. What are some of the pros and cons to casting a relatively unknown actor versus casting a high-profile actor for an MCU role? Is that like is there a big difference when you're going through that process? If it's someone new versus somebody who...
It is a big difference because, as you mentioned, it's a rigorous shoot. It's a rigorous commitment. There's a lot involved. There's a level of fame that a young actor is going to all of a sudden be pressed into, and so we want to know that they'll be equipped and prepared to handle that and have the support that they need. Also, it can be dictated by the project itself. Do filmmakers, does the director want an established actor? Does the world want an established actor, or are they open to unknowns? And no two projects have ever been alike. So it can be a really, really different process when it's wide open and they're open to discover. So, yeah.
Hey guys,
This is Nick. I know you. This is Nick.
Yes.
Legend. What's up, dude?
I love having you at Comic-Con. It's great, Brandon. Thank you, Sarah, for coming. So my question is, I'd love you to speak on the collaborative effort between you and directors, whether it's your casting before or after the director is assigned, or any hurdles that you go over. So what's kind of the effort that you go with the director when you're casting for probably a newer character rather than a sequel to one of the movies?
Yeah. My goal is to get to know the director as well as I possibly can. You know, I want to know how they think. I want to know what their vision is, what their hopes and dreams are for the movie, so that I can learn how they work, learn what they're hoping for, and then hope to achieve that or even go beyond their expectation of what it might be to fulfill a role. But it's going to be important to find the right actor for that director and for the story they're telling. Because there might be great actors. Objectively, I think somebody is perfect for a character, but they turn to speak the same language and have a similar creative working style. And so I think it's very important to develop that relationship and that understanding with any director that I'm working with. And it does get easier to work. Like, it's been wonderful to work with Joe and Company over so many films. John Favreau, I've known for 20 years and been able to do so many projects with now. And so we develop a shorthand over time that can make the casting process a little more streamlined, but it is ultimately their vision that I'm teeing off in everything I do.
Yeah. In phase one of the MCU, there were two pretty big characters that the actors stopped playing the role. So when it comes to a moment like there's a new Hulk or a new War Machine, and it's a recasting because somebody doesn't want to do it anymore, how do you, what is the approach to that? Do you have to factor in what they did previously, or does the director say, no, we can, might change it up, or...
Yeah, it can be a lot of different factors, and it's not something that's usually anticipated.
Yeah, I bet.
So it's something that we're just trying to, maintain the storytelling with the highest caliber vector.
That made sense.
Yeah.
Back over here, what's up?
Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks.
I just had a question. So between 2008 and 2018, the pre-Endgame MCU, it was very much a time crunch because we're getting like 2, 3, sometimes 4 movies a year. So I just wanted to ask, how far in advance do actors get cast, or do these auditions happen, considering, like, I'm guessing they'd be working overtime so many times trying to find actors for movies?
Yeah, it varies project to project, and because you guys are probably MCU fans, you know, phase 1, phase 2 only had about 6 films, I think, each. Phase 4 had 17. So it really, the pace changed. I'll say that. And we had a lot of leads in our casting for some of the early characters, but as it ramped up and the volume of characters increased and the storytelling increased, there would be times when a character got added very last minute. You know, and so we're still shooting for the moon, but the time frame was really different.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
When you were casting for the original 6 Avengers, we just talked about this already, you cast them individually for their movies.
Yeah.
And then hoped it worked when they got together, and it did. Now maybe that you might be casting a new group of characters that you get to put them together, it sounds like maybe. But when you're casting like an ensemble of major characters versus that experience doing them independently one at a time, what is the difference in that process?
Yeah, it's expanded.
Like that?
It's occasionally if we're doing something where we might be casting, say, 8 months at once. It's quite challenging and rigorous.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for us to see some of the next casting choices you went?
Yeah, very.
I went there the safest way possible, guys.
Yeah, I can't say
I didn't even say the name of the team, right? What can I possibly be talking about? You could make a choice in the team.
Well, hi guys, I'm Nick Dahlquist. Sarah, nice to meet you outside of self-tape.
Nice to meet you.
I was wondering, after you've done this for 20 years, how this has affected you as an artist. You've worked with so many. How has it grown your skill set, your the thing that you love to do and the thing that you've done every day for that?
Thank you. That's a lovely question. I learned a lot from all the artists I've been able to collaborate with. And I feel like I've grown so much along the way in my understanding, in my confidence. It's when you're starting out in casting, you're hoping you're making the right call. And every time I feel that same wish, that same humility when I approach a job. But it does, having started to after 20 years, and I can look back and feel like, okay, it worked out pretty well. Like overall, it's going okay. So not every process is easy and not every decision is perfect, but I certainly think that collaborating with this level of incredibly talented people has helped me develop my own craft.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a big Thanos fan.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Josh didn't even know what he was signing up for. 100%. Had no idea. Yeah.
I guess the Hulk, but even the Hulk is half the time human. You see the actor, fully the actor, and then sometimes you see the Hulk. That was just fully CGI performance where they captured him.
Yes.
What was the process of casting Thanos with Josh Brolin, who had done so much awesome work leading up to it?
Yeah.
I can stand out of that.
I had cast Josh several times earlier in my career in different movies, and he always transformed. He did an Oliver Stone movie. He has done a wide range of roles, and I had gotten to know him a little bit in the process. And when Thanos came up, it was just going to be a couple lines. He had this great jawline. So I'll do something with it.
Somebody referred to it
create a character.
Chin. No, I think, that was when he was purple.
I think
different
Josh.
person. Yeah.
Anyway, so it really started out as something more involved than we ever anticipated it becoming. Do you need to go back?
No, I'm just laughing at myself for quoting such a line in front of so many people.
So anyway, it grew. I think Josh's characterization, the way he brought Thanos to life, was compelling, and the part kept getting bigger and bigger, and then...
That anticipation of Thanos was so cool, too. I love that time in our lives. There's never been a character that, when you cast them, you guys all kind of had one vision, or maybe you had one vision, and then when you saw the finished product of the movie, it was that turned out that they did it great anyway.
Well, that's a great question. I think I would say Guardians was the most out there in terms of trying to imagine what the final version was going to be. And I don't know if anybody was here at Comic-Con when Karen Gillan took her wig off and threw it at the audience and had a completely bald head. She was showing off for the first time. It was shocking.
Yeah.
And she has such a terrific, beautiful, sweet face, and then getting to see her as Nebula in the film with all of the makeup and prosthetics, that was a huge transformation. That was one of the biggest ones. But really, everyone in Guardians just transformed, and Dave and Tom, who gave the craziest audition and then went on to create Mantis.
Wait, what made it crazy?
Like Bjork on steroids, I don't know, like crazy. Yeah.
I always wonder, where does James Gunn find these people? Because James Gunn casts a lot of people in his movies that I'm not familiar with your work.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of obviously probably starts with you as well, in the Guardians movies.
Yeah.
So does anything stand out about James' process that makes him unique about how he looks for actors to play his characters?
My experience is that James loves it so much, and not that my other directors don't, but James is exuberant, in his love for the comics and his love for these characters. And when we were doing Guardians, I think it really was a passion project. And he said something later that really stuck with me, because I am lucky that I get to work on a lot of different kinds of movies, and A24 movies, and all dramatic films and all different things. But James said about comic book movies and Guardians and Marvel that we don't work any less hard or love what we do any less, and we all care so much and put all of our efforts into it. And I think that seeing awards recognition and stuff like that, I really felt that from him and from everybody, that they just want so much to bring this story to life in the best possible way.
All right, let's go back over here. What's your name?
My name is Cole. Brandon, I'm coming for you when it comes to Nova.
And, I gotta leg up. I'm right here with her, all right?
That is a good point, and that is kind of what my question is about. Is I want to end up in the casting room with you, Sarah, but currently I am on the outside looking in. I want to try and get in there, but I am having a hard time starting that process. So do you have any advice on where I can begin?
That is a great question, and it is, it's a difficult one, but I'll tell you my impressions, because there's a lot of actors out there that want to get a break. There are more avenues now than ever before for actors to present their work, whether it's self-produced work, whether it's being in a play or doing a video on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. I would say just keep working on yourself, keep working on your work, and keep putting it out there. We cast an actress in Black Panther who we saw do a monologue from Raisin in the Sun on YouTube. So it can happen, but we need to see you and we need to find you. And that's again why we read. I can't possibly see all the movies and television shows and theater productions that are out there, but we read a lot. And if you're in a production that gets highlighted, chances are that'll get noticed by me or by any of the other incredibly talented thousands of casting directors out there. So I think just find ways to continue working, continue stretching, and getting it out here for people to see.
Okay, Bessie, thank you.
Thanks.
I would rather be so annoying on Instagram. Oh, my name is Richard Ryder. That's like it, my Irish. I'll do it. I'll pay that.
Doesn't work that.
What's going on?
Hey, Pat, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Daniel. So my question before the next Oscar winner for Best Casting, Sarah, is what are your thoughts on AI actors? Do you think like we as actors should be like worried about them?
I know it's a hot conversation and it's an important topic. My personal feeling is that it's about acting and creating characters and telling stories is about having an experience of our shared humanity. And it is really about coming from your heart and expressing your humor and your idiosyncrasies and your uniqueness in a way that cannot be reproduced. So I don't want to discount it because I don't know enough about it, but in terms of what I do and the way I see things, I do not see it as an issue.
What is a day in the life of a casting director like right now? Like, is there multiple projects you're working on? I mean, Marvel and otherwise, but like,
Yeah.
is it you're balancing multiple things? What is a day in the office like for Sarah?
Another good thing about casting is no 2 dates are ever exactly the same. And oftentimes we'll start a day and have no idea what we were looking for that day. Yeah. Something comes up early in the morning, but it's a pretty typical day is we spend part of our time viewing takes and looking at submissions and educating ourselves on actors, part of the time in session, part of the time talking to agents, and part of the time talking to our team. You know, like our filmmakers and each other, collaborating, brainstorming, things like that. Yeah.
Hey, cool shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a cool shirt? What you agree?
Cool shirt.
Done.
I agree.
What's your name?
I don't even know if I'm allowed to read the name of the shirt out loud. Excellent. Is that what it says?
It rhymes with Schleck.
Yeah.
My name's Amy. I was wondering, what do you think your favorite movie casting was?
I think a favorite child.
I know. Yeah, I have a son named Aiden, and it is like picking a favorite child. It's very, very hard. I really invest in every role and every movie that I'm casting, so it's hard to say, but Brandon and I were talking earlier, and I will say that Black Panther has a very special place in my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that Captain America Civil War was like, I'd say the MCU kind of was at like its peak in terms of probably viewership and discussions going into Endgame, and Civil War was like right there on that trajectory with it. And you had Spider-Man and Black Panther both debut in that movie, which probably in terms of like the eyeballs on the role are very different because there's been 2 Spider-Mans. He's like one of the most famous characters in the world. And Black Panther is a very popular character, but here we all knew he was. It's not like a character that has broken into mainstream yet and hasn't done anything in live action.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's a slightly different process too, or are you thinking about it differently in any way because of the factors like that?
It was challenging not only because they're such iconic, important characters, and for Spider-Man, there had just been 2 other versions. What like, again, okay, so I knew we had to do something kind of different and wanted to get that right, but also we were adding characters into a story, so we didn't have their movies yet. So again, it really was trying to conjure something and imagine a future that didn't exist yet. Ryan Coogler wasn't on board for Black Panther, John Watts wasn't on board for Spider-Man, so we're casting characters, and thankfully the Russos were as involved as they always are and very instrumental in helping choose the actors to play them. But the future beyond that was yet unwritten. And with Spider-Man in particular, I'll say, having 3 boys of my own, the timeline between movies that was explained to me was about 3 weeks. So we were going to shoot Civil War, and then the Spider-Man movie was going to take place about 3 weeks later, but we would actually shoot it a year later. So anyone that knows 15, 16, 17-year-olds, they grow a lot in a year. And I was like, how are we going to make this look like 3 weeks when the actor, and Tom was waiting to shoot Spider-Man, but again, it worked out okay.
Yeah.
So there were unique challenges.
And just anything, like, I mean, Chadwick Moses was talent. Has such an incredible Black Panther. I feel like that was a bunch of weirdest thing in the room, and you had that's okay. Like, what was the moment where you knew, he's our T'Challa, he's our Black Panther?
I think that he had such a body of work when we showed to Black Panther that it was one of the rare unanimous instant decisions at Marvel that he had auditioned for us many times. He auditioned for Iron Man 3. Believe it or not, he auditioned for Drax the Destroyer.
Really?
Which was not
actually going to be an Iron Man 3.
Not a Saturn. So he auditioned for that role that went to James Batchdale, but and I had seen him audition for other projects that I was casting on. Every single time he showed up to audition, he was prepared, he was fully committed, he lit up the room with everything he did. And when he auditioned for Drax, he did miss the humor, but he made him sound like a king who had been wronged with this righteous fury. And it was sort of like a Tom Hiddleston moment, or Sebastian Stan, who auditioned for Captain America. I looked at him and I knew the level of talent I was witnessing, and that was not the right role for him, but there would be one.
That's like, it's so funny to imagine Chadwick as like anyone else.
I know.
Chadwick as Drax.
It was very different.
Yeah.
But,
hey, Mario.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey there.
What's your question?
Yeah, my question was, what was it like recasting Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom?
Very, very secretive.
About that.
Like, yeah, that was a big moment last year. That was just
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Thank you.
But that,
I'm losing track of
that
time.
was that was a few months. It was a secret.
Yeah.
That
It was a very big idea and one that people were very excited about and excited about sharing, and we leave it to you all to see.
she knows what happens in Doomsday, guys. Right here, right at the table.
Anything?
What happens?
Let me tell you, there's so many happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's pretty good. If you cast a Mario, I mean, like that.
It's a Mario movie.
Well,
Yeah.
move over, Star-Lord.
Yeah.
What's up, Batman?
How's it going? Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
But take you way back in time
Okay.
to ask this question. Life as a house.
Oh, okay.
Hayden
Erwin Winkler, Hayden Christensen, Kevin Kline.
Destroyed, the movie destroyed me. If you haven't seen it, by stalking Kleenex before you do. But with that being said, Hayden Christensen was a very young actor who grew to be somebody even bigger and something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So you also cast one of my former students as the sexy hot reporter in Ant-Man.
Okay.
She's amazing. I don't know if you remember, but my question is, are you looking forward to seeing somebody that you've cast recently blow up and become like, who's that young talent that we might know their name, but we might not quite know exactly what their trajectory is, and you have a good feeling that everybody's going to know their name.
Who is playing Rogue?
No, I will say yes, I have a good feeling. I don't think we can say that much more if they haven't been cast or announced yet, but I will say that it's been really a pleasure to find and help discover and help have a pathway for people. We were talking earlier about sports films, and saying I had gotten my early credits were doing sports films, and I think doing those huge searches for Miracle, for Coach Carter, for Blue Crush, I had a lot of every sport. When I were getting football, soccer, She's the Man. Anyway, we found so many people, and actually it was Channing Tatum. I think his first role was in Coach Carter, and that really came full circle when we got casted as Gambit. And
Those are always great.
So those are so fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Channing was like, when Fox was doing X-Men, was kind of gonna be Gambit, but then never was Gambit. So for Deadpool and Wolverine, was there like an audition process for that?
Channing did not audition. No.
So I was gonna say, was he in the room going, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" If he do the accent in the audition room, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
You're hired. Minions are in the back coaching him. I love it. We have only 2 more people. I think we can do both of these.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Anna. Nice to meet y'all. So I work as a producer, not in the scale of Marvel films, obviously, but I put my head in when it comes to budgets and schedule and meeting deadlines and all of the left-brain part of entertainment. So I'm curious, have you ever had an experience where some actors either salary or their filming schedule for other projects has gotten in the way of casting the perfect person? And if so, what does that look like negotiating with the producers and directors, or have you had to make, second round picks if something like that doesn't work out?
Yeah, that has happened many, many times. Again, it's one of the challenges we face. You can have a brilliant idea, but if that actor's not available, it doesn't matter. I think it's on record, about Emily Blunt. Is that on record? I think it's on record that we had tried to cast Emily Blunt in early days, and she had an option on another film, and we couldn't clear it. And sadly, it hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will one day. So there have been many instances, and over the course of 20 years, that there have been actors that we wanted that haven't been able to join for various reasons. But then we just start all over and reapproach the casting schedule. Like you can imagine with a movie like Doomsday and the size of that cast, Avengers Endgames, I do not envy that. Our producers on those films and the many, many rabbits they have had to pull out of hats to get everyone in the same place in the same time.
You did get Emily Blunt's husband once.
Yes, we did.
Pretty fantastic.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
But honey is an M&M or mom's spaghetti.
I don't have to go look that up.
All right, last question over here. Let's go. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
So my question was mainly about recasting. So we had two previous Spider-Man before Tom Holland. We've had War Machine, Hulk. When it comes to recasting those established characters, and now we're probably going to be talking about the new team.
No, sir.
Well, you look into the previous actors that played those roles and what worked for them and what you want to see in those characters are coming again with new actors, or do you want something fresh, something new?
I'm going to start with my director and their vision for the movie, because that is going to reset everything. The director comes in with so many ideas and so many inspirations and so much creativity that I think that what I find is I can just try to clear my mind and start fresh. It's not that I'm not aware of what's been done before, because we also want to keep it fun for the fans and the audiences and do something that feels distinct and new and different to keep building on the stories and not tell the same ones in the same way. So yes, we have to be aware, but we're also teeing off with a new vision and a new filmmaker, and that really helps. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, my last question for you. I have a last question for you, but I did get something for you to say thank you. I always try to bring a little something for my guests, and my friend Jonathan has a channel called Mitch's Superheroes Today, and he makes custom Lego minifigures. And you are responsible for a lot of the coolest Lego minifigures, putting the actor in the part of these characters that become these incredible Lego minifigures. And now there's the Sarah Finn Lego minifigure. I think you were thank you for stopping.
Does that have coffee code? Because that is very accurate.
It's a TVA. And I'm your man, of course.
It's not. This is.
So, just a way to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
My last question for all my guests is, it's called The Main Character with Brandon Davis. Started wrestling, I gave myself the name of the main character there, because instead of coming and doing interviews and hearing people's stories, and like, that'd be the main character. I'm the main character here at wrestling. And you're the main character instead. Like, that was my main character moment. I'll go pursue wrestling.
Right.
I mean, I do it, but it's fun. But like, what would you say was a main character moment in your life, in your career, where you had to make a choice, pursue a thing, you weren't sure if it would work out, or you weren't sure if it was the right thing for you, but if you didn't do that, you look back at everything might be a little different if I didn't make that choice at that moment.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind, of course, is meeting my husband and having a family.
It's a pretty good one.
So like becoming a mom, that has to go first. That really changed my life and the that thing, fun stuff, happy stuff. And then I guess I would say casting. Like, I never intended to be a casting director. I never really thought of it as a career that I would pursue. And I got the opportunity to come into one job and loved it, and put one foot in front of the other, and worked incredibly hard for many, many years. And I'm very glad that I was given the chance and got to do this for all this time.
I think we're all very glad and lucky that you're doing it, Terrence. And thank you. Thank you to everybody who came out today. Thank you so much for being here. Look at these sour things that I'm here and talking. That's our show, guys. See you next time.
Thank you so much. I'll consider it.
Hey, BD here. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out on the Brandon Davis Show. I hope you enjoyed what you just heard, listened to, learned, all that stuff. I'd love it if you leave a comment and let me know what your favorite part was. I'd love it even more if you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because we have Ask BD episodes every Monday on every major podcast platform and YouTube, and a new main character every Wednesday on every major podcast platform and YouTube. You can support the show on Patreon. You can subscribe to the channel. You can choose your own adventure. I hope you'll stick around, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.